This activity is called alcohol, drugs, relay, using remote-controlled cars. It's not in any of the toolkits, to be honest, but I quite often use an activity like this, either remote-controlled cars, remote-controlled boats. It's entirely up to yourself how you want to do it. And you design a bit of a track out there, and you give one of the groups beer goggles and the other group not. And the important thing is, I guess, to make young people aware of the effects of alcohol and drugs on your perception, on the way that you move around, on your memory and all the rest of it. And to demonstrate that in a kind of practical way, as you'll see in a second about the video, when you watch the video, the timing is very important. Make sure you keep a time of the first team that comes back, and then let the time continue until the last team comes back.
What I'd like you to do is pick up your seats. This activity is going to run for about 10 minutes. But if you pick up your seats just now, I want you to put your seats in single file line from here to here. One group here, lockbacks, and then the other group here, standard blades, facing this direction. Facing this direction. We're going to have a bit of a relay race, alright? But this relay race is going to... You guys are lockbacks, right? Standard blades. Okay, you guys are lockbacks, you guys are standard blades. Unfortunately, someone told me outside that there is lockbacks in this area. Somebody told me that lockbacks have been used in this area. You know what a lockback is? No. Aye. So that's a knife that you flick like that and get it out, and then it double backs on itself. Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying to you is, unfortunately, the lockbacks are going to have to wear special goggles for this activity. But the Stanley blades are all sorted. They don't need to wear any goggles at all. And this activity is based around alcohol and drugs. Alright? What's going to happen is I'm going to have a remote control car here, a remote control car here. So there you go, there's your remote control car on the start line. There's your remote control car on the start line. There you go, hold them, hold them. All you need to do, okay, this is the rules to the game. And I tell you guys, I will disqualify a team if they don't do it correctly. And I tell you, I disqualify people very, very quickly. So you need to work hard on this, alright? When I say go, this team is going to have, unfortunately, drunk goggles on. So those of you who haven't used drunk goggles before, don't worry about it. But this team are going to have drunk goggles on, alright? And what's going to happen is, when I say go, you have to get your remote control car from the start, which is that yellow line. You have to come up here. This team will have to come up here, stop their car in the box. Once they stop their car in the box, they have to then circle this piece of fluorescent yellow tape, not touching it. If you touch it, you're disqualified. Yeah? I'm serious. Then you have to come back. You have to come back here, stop your car in here again. You have to actually have it stopped. We've got two referees here that are going to say whether it's stopped or not. Then the car goes back to the end here. Once the car goes past this area here, don't bring it back to the seat. Once the car goes past this area here, once it goes past this area here, what will happen is you then pass the controller to the next person. And to pass the controller to the next person, all you do is pick up your seats without making any noise, with your drunk goggles on, give him the drunk goggles, give him the controller, and you don't even move your seats, you're just next in the line. You then put your seat at the back. Do you understand? So people with glasses on will just put the goggles right over it. I'm going to say start. While this is going on, I'm going to time it. Alright, so I've got a timer on my phone. I'm going to time it, and I'm going to make sure at the end I have the time of who comes first and who comes second. And you're not finished until you're completely completed. Do you understand? That's really important. Okay, on your marks. Just make sure that's running properly. Okay, back it goes. Get set. Go. Yep, you have to go back into there and then come back. That's it. Back you come as quick as you can. Back, that's it. Next person. Okay, so this team here, which were lockbacks, alright? So this team here had junk goggles on. What sort of time, Jen, I'm going to give you? These guys got 3 minutes 58 seconds. What did you get?
10 minutes.
7 minutes 42 seconds. So there's a difference there of almost double. What does that tell you?
We're steaming, they're sober.
You're steaming, they're sober? Yeah, so it definitely tells you that. What else does it tell you? Anything?
If they all started talking to each other, then they would have got it done quicker.
Okay, they could have talked to each other, they could have communicated, they could have got it done quicker. What is it telling you about alcohol, drugs, things that don't warp your mind? Sorry? I'm not saying don't have a drink when you're older. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't take drugs. If you want to take drugs, you can take drugs. It's your choice. Yeah. But what I am saying is, if you do take drugs and you do drink alcohol, when you go out in the street, what do you think happens? I'm not saying you start fights. I'm just saying things change, don't they?
I'm smarter when you're sober.
You're smarter when you're sober.
And you're wiser.
Well done. Yeah. So that's the exact point I'm trying to get right now. These remote control cars are a simple explanation to show you actually, the minute you put junk goggles on, your whole interpretation of what's going on around you totally changes. Don't drink drive. Yeah. Brilliant. Do you understand the point I'm going to get there? Have I proved it quite well? Okay. Can I just ask a quick question then? That's for everyone, this group as well, so whoever wants to answer. If I was to give you junk goggles just now, right, if I was to give you junk goggles just now, and I was to take you in Julie's car or whatever, and I was to go and drop you off somewhere on the outskirts of Govan somewhere, on the outskirts somewhere, do you honestly think you'd be able to find your way home? So we've got a yes here, we've got a maybe here, we've got a no here, we've got a no here.
You told me what I was.
I'm not going to tell you where you are.
I know.
So the majority of the group saying they can't even find your way home. So if you can't even find your way home, if you're pissed, if you've got the junk goggles on, if you got involved for any reason in a fight, if you got involved in any sort of attack, violent attack, do you think you might do more because you drunk alcohol? Can I just tell you a wee statistic quickly? This is very true. Out of 10 young people in Pullman Young Offenders Institute, and Pullman Young Offenders Institute is between the ages of kind of 14 and a half, 15, 15 and a half years old, verging on 16, up to 20, yeah, up to 21. Just listen to that wee sec. So I guess, out of 10 young offenders that are in there for murder, how many of them do you think were on alcohol and drugs when they did the crime?
9.
All of them, actually. Every single one of them. So if the point I'm trying to make here is that actually alcohol and drugs has a huge part to play in violence in Scotland. Now, I'm not saying don't drink, I'm not saying don't take drugs. If you want to take drugs, you can do whatever you want. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to do things like that, don't be kicking around the streets causing trouble. After watching the video clip there of the kind of action replay with the remote controlled cars, you'll see that after the activities actually taken place, very similar to a lot of these activities, it's not so much about the activity, it's very much about the discussion afterwards. And what I'm trying to do there is ask quite an open question about what could possibly happen if you were drunk. What could possibly happen if you were high on drugs and you were out at night and you chose to behave in a certain way? What's the effects of this? What's the consequences? And you really get young people to think about what could happen to them and talk about experiences, talk about situations that have happened possibly in the past, or they may know people that have been involved in different incidents when they've been involved in drugs and alcohol. What I did make young people aware of as well, and I did ask the question related to Pullman Young Offenders Institute and how many people have that were involved in murder, that were sentenced in Pullman, were actually in there for murder, but also had been taking drugs and alcohol when they were convicted. So yeah, that question was good to add in there. It's not much related to the activity, but it's very good to add in there towards the end to get the young people to think a bit more about it.